I keep switching spots. I think this is it. Could be. I feel like I need something right here. A table. Something. We'll figure it out though. Get that out of the way. This is Terrence. He's been all over the world. He's also missing an eye. But hello. We're back. It's Sunday night. I should be in bed. Well, it's probably like 15 minutes till I should be going to bed. But we'll see how long this takes. I have my little book that I write things in. I think I have some nice drawings in here too. No, not this one. A couple. A lot of writing though. And I don't even know if I want to read this. But I will. And then I guess I'll talk about it with you. I won't be able to hear what you think about it, but that's okay. Also, I think the last video I put out has like 24 views, and then one of them has like 32. How? Crazy. Pretty cool though. And I hope if you do watch it, or if you did, that you liked it, But anyway. And this writing stuff is all just like things that I think about. And like that apply to me. And maybe you can find some use for them too. It's more directed towards men. I'm a man, so that's what that's the things I tend to write about. But it's 2 pages and they're separate. I'll probably do like a little bit of a pause in between the pages. But the first one goes: it's okay to be a man. Be tough, be calloused, forging your own path, fighting your fights, defending what you believe in. But it's also okay to be soft and empathetic. Strengthen your convictions, bravery in the face of failure. Allow people to feel at ease around you. Let them be themselves, feel themselves. Be a conduit for growth, for yourself first, and then for others. Don't be afraid of change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I'm a man of strength, courage, bravery, and love. I love myself because I am strong, courageous, and brave. I love others because I see them, see their thoughts and feelings, suffering and happiness. I see me in them. I love myself and I love others. Together we are stronger, braver, more courageous. I don't need them to love me in return. I see where their feelings come from, a place of fear. We are all scared. I'm scared. I'm scared of failure, rejection, love, and hate. But because of that fear, I'm stronger. I accept it, and I can control it. For not accepting it gives it power over you. I hold the power, not my thoughts, feelings, and fears. So what does this mean? What does it mean? What's the meat? I mean, I guess some of the questions that come along with it, and that kind of inspired it, would be, I guess one of them is like, what makes a man is one of them, for sure. Another one would be, why are we afraid of change? which I feel like it's not an easy question to answer, but like, I feel like it's easy to answer that question from a generalized perspective. But when you start asking yourself, that's when it starts getting tedious, scary. And then, that's that fear. Um, but sometimes who you are isn't working out, and it's not who you're meant to be. Sometimes you got to change. But, yeah, for that first question, like, what is a man? I'd say, like, I mean, I suppose it's kind of subjective. Um, I really wish I had someone to talk about these when I was younger, you know? But here we are, figuring it out now, which is okay. At least we're figuring it out. Or at least I am. You may be a woman, or whatever. But for me, I think the idea of like being like strong or resolute, I'd say is probably a better word. And like what you believe in, standing up for your values and living them. And I think everyone should do that. But I think that's like well, now I'm getting into like gender roles in a way, which I mean are a thing for sure, I think. But like, for me, what kind of a man do I want to be? I guess is the real question here. And it is like, I've always been drawn to like the Stoic philosophy, because I think I really first started getting into that in like my senior year of high school. I remember checking out a book, and I think I still have that book somewhere. It may be on my shelf. Yeah, I think I'm looking at it right now. But, whoops. That may be not the right one. I don't know. I have a pimple. Damn. But yeah, calm, strong, physically and mentally, and emotionally, but not emotionally strong in the way that like you like don't feel them and you don't show them, because I don't think that's it. I don't think the lack of emotion makes you stronger. I think like figuring out how to incorporate it, which is like the idea of like the anima and animus, the feminine and the masculine, and incorporating them both into like a whole being, or into your whole being, or mine in this case. And so like my thing where it's like, it's okay to be a man and be tough and be calloused. And like almost like the guts archetype. Unstoppable, unshakable, that kind of thing. But then when it comes to like being empathetic and soft with like family members or loved ones, in romantic relationships, being okay with letting your feelings out, because that's hard. That's hard, because that's vulnerable. And if there's like one thing in all of my relationships that I've struggled with, it was that. For sure. And because of that, it makes it really easy to either, you know, kind of get walked over or feel like you're getting walked over, you know. But it's, I mean, if you're not expressing your thoughts and feelings, you can't expect your partner to understand your thoughts and feelings or your boundaries and things like that. And so it's like you're really working against yourself. Um, but it's also, you know, at times, you know, maybe emotions aren't the right way to go. And I think I've always been kind of an analytical person, for sure. Um, you know, for better or for worse. And so, I gotta remember to look at the camera. I just looked away. But yeah, just being able to combine the two, I think is really what it is. And knowing when to be one and when to be the other. You know, I think a lot of that comes with, you know, being grounded in your values or grounded in your values and your vision for what you want. Um, because if you know where you're going and you know like how to get there in the sense of like the kind of man you want to be as you're walking that path, it's easier to walk it, you know. And so you have to like you have to draw up a roadmap a little bit for sure. I don't think you want to think too hard about it because the harder you think, the more you're going to want to change, or the more you think it's going to be stupid, or the way you act is going to be not who you are. But if you just look at it at face value and be like, you know, this is what I want to be, I don't think any of those questions really matter. You know, like, and maybe your vision changes, and maybe you have experiences that change your values and your beliefs, and that's okay. You know, we're meant to change. Um, like yeah, like nothing changes if nothing changes, and I heard that from Theo Vaughn, and it's like, you know, stagnation is not the way. Yeah, and that's like where it's like, you know, you don't want to think too hard about it because the more you think about it, the less you're actually doing, or the more you're stagnating, you know. And so sometimes you just need to do stuff, even if it's not like hyper beneficial to what you're trying to do. Sometimes you just have to do things, like try things, experience things, and then you'll know if you want to do them again or not, you know. But you just have to keep moving, forward or backwards, you know. And you won't always have the choice. Sometimes you'll have to step back a little bit, and it may suck, but that's okay. You know, it's just part of the journey. You can't, you know, keep digging. Sometimes you got to go around. Sometimes you got to step back and, you know, dig around the big rock that you hit. But then for the second page, we are all scared. I'm scared. I'm scared of failure, rejection, love, and hate. Yeah, even just like putting this out with these words, like, hurts. not like, not my heart, but like mentally, it's like, oh, like, I don't want anybody to see this, you know. But I'm putting it out there so you can. um, yeah, I'm terrified of failure and rejection. Oh, rejection for sure. Rejection's hard. And you can, like, even before you talk to a woman, you can psych yourself out to being rejected before the conversation even happens. And it's like, yeah, that's like part of the like thinking too much thing. That's rough. That's getting in your head. And I've done that before, for sure. I don't know if you just heard my stomach, but. And you know, I'm scared of love. I'm probably scared of love more than I am of hate. But that's just like, that's one of the vulnerability things, you know? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm giving myself, or I'm like opening myself up too much, you know? It doesn't feel safe sometimes. But if you don't open up, you can't receive that love from anybody else, you know? And you can't give it either. You know, if you shut yourself off, you're shutting yourself off from, you know, giving other people the things that you want to give and receive in return, you know? And it's just a cycle of self-defeat. So sometimes you just gotta open up, let it out. Fear. Fear. Fear and anxiety go hand in hand. Yeah. Yeah, fear is, it will control you, and it does. 100%. Like, if you're scared of something, you're already under that control. Until you act upon that fear, you're under the control of the fear. And it's like, oh, and we all know what it feels like. It feels like you just landed in a spider's nest and it's just fucking, or a spider's web and it's just wrapping you up and you can't get out and you're stuck. But you gotta step back mentally. You know, harness your consciousness and just look. And be like, okay. What's the spider? Why does it scare me? And how do I get out? You know, it really is just a lot of like your problems, or I say yours, I don't know what your problems are, but mine is like, just thinking myself into failure, you know? Which just goes to show how powerful your mind really is. Like, oh man, that's what I'm trying to like rewire too. That's like part of what this is, you know? I would never, well, I can't say that. That's what I would say. Or that's what I would have said in the past. But I am doing it, and I will continue to do it. But in the past, like, I don't know if there's an amount of money that you could pay to like say this kind of stuff. But yeah, I wrote this stuff down the other day. Um, dang, I've had this notebook for a while. No way. This page is marked November 30th, 2022. Dang. And there's some other stuff written in here too. A decent amount, actually. As I'm flipping through empty pages. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I wrote this stuff down the other day. Oh, this does have some nice drawings in it. Can't even really see it. That's one of my favorites, probably. I ran out of ink in that pen, though, and I'm so sad. But yeah, I wrote this stuff down the other day, and it made me want to talk about it. And I didn't. I think I wrote it down Friday. Or maybe Thursday. I can't remember. One of the days. And I didn't end up talking about it. But here we are. I wrote this down. This was probably, I'm going to say, a month and a half ago. And it's really nice going back and looking at the stuff you write down. Really get into your own mind and understand, like, what you think and feel. But I wrote this. Commitment to your cause is the truest form of self. Choice, decision, whatever you want to call it. That's not what it is. It's you. Embodied philosophy doesn't require choice. The choice was made once, and now you represent it. It's who you are, not what you do. You can do whatever you want, as long as it's you doing it. Your perception, your choice, your action. You. I gotta go back and read this stuff. I'll be spitting heat. If I read all of this. Sorry, I was reading. Oh, this is sick. Systematize your philosophy. Your body understands systems. Create your philosophy. Let your environment be shaped by it so that it can shape you. Understand your philosophy. You will then understand yourself. Be your philosophy. After all, it is you. Stand up for your philosophy. You will be standing up for yourself. Let your philosophy speak for itself. You have nothing to prove. Your philosophy is you, growing, learning, observing, and nurturing. Ooh, my neck feels tight. Help those around you find their philosophy. Help them find themselves, united by way of life, not way of thought. It's not about transcending. Transcending being to be or go beyond the limits of something. Transcending implies surpassing who you are, what you are. This implies you can't know what you're transcending to or where. How do you base a life in that? Some can, but I can't, and that's okay. Here's what I do know. I want to make people smile, laugh, feel noticed. At one point, these are things I needed, but now I understand it's what everyone needs. Hello, buddy. Compassion, love, and understanding. Aggression and conviction, in themselves and in others. Do unto others what you want done to you. Change is good, necessary even. You may read one page of this, and then see I contradict myself the next. That's okay. That's life. I'm learning to learn, to understand, and to be. infantile in a way, but in a way conducive to self-development. At the end of the day, this writing reflects who I am on the inside and is designed to influence who I am on the outside. As above, so below. As within, so without. Hello, buddy. He's all up in my business. This is all he wants to do. It's either this or get in the sink. Hello. Anyway. I hope you had a good day. Or I hope you have a good day. Whichever one. Peace. I don't know what else to say after that. I kind of just sat there awkwardly for a second.